Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Padfoot Live Get Training. Nice foggy morning here at the Oval today, but clearly you're finding it a bit warmer than I am today.
Oh, well, I mean, I forgot my jacket.
Okay.
But it's not too bad, actually.
Whereas I rolled out of bed. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about today on the show, we're going to try to keep it a little bit quicker than we have done recently. We tend to have been gabbling. Yeah, we've been chatting on for a bit. But what we're going to be talking about today is a couple of things. We wanted to talk about, what you should do if your dog gets into a fight. So there's situations that are beyond our control. Where your dog can get attacked, by an or multiple other dogs. And if you don't know what to do, if you haven't already thought through what you're meant to do in those situations, it can be a very traumatizing experience and very damaging and risky experience for everybody.
For you as well as the dog.
Alongside that, we're also going to talk a little bit about what you should think about. So what happens if a dog bites you, the things that should be playing through your head at that time, and what to do after the event. And then in terms of Buddy's demo, or Buddy's trick of the day, all we're going to do today is just working on the progression of behaviours. So Courtney's going to demonstrate just a drop and a roll with Buddy, but without giving him any visual cues. So just audible cues, all verbal, audible cues, and just seeing how well he does, with that sort of behaviour. So it's that next level for you guys. Once you've started them off by luring, by shaping, by marking the right behaviour, you've given them all the indications. You start progressing it then, so you're giving them the minimum of indications to get them through the behaviour.
Yeah, because we're using all those lures and everything, guys, to teach them something. And then, we do want to get to the point where they do know it. Yeah. Right?
Exactly.
That's the goal.
Exactly. And so ultimately you should be able to, in some respects, be able to make no movement, hands in your pockets, hand behind your back, not facing them, give them their name and their command, and they will do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Okay, so dogs fighting. So look, where we are up here on the sunny coast, there are lots of opportunities for us to take our dogs to off-leash areas. Mm-hmm. But this doesn't also apply to off-leash areas, and quite often the times that we hear about incidents of dog fights or dogs being attacked by other dogs is actually where you're just walking your dog on a normal walk on the leash, as you do, and then a couple of loose dogs or no owners in sight.
God forbid.
Yep, just appear from nowhere, and get in on your dog.
And unfortunately, this does happen around here, guys.
Yes, it happens quite a lot. So it's really worth being aware and just playing through in your mind, what you should do in that instance. So look, I mean, firstly, obviously, if the owner of a off-leash dog is there and that dog is displaying aggressive behaviours, say to that person, please get control of your dog.
Mm-hmm. You have every right to request that.
Exactly.
It's not you being rude or having to stick up your butt. No. That is your right.
Exactly right. Even if you're only asking them just to get control of your dog while you move past or move on your way. That's absolutely fine to ask for. If a fight occurs, however, what you generally see people doing, because they're obviously worried about their dog, because they're part of your family, they're like your children,
there's a lot of adrenaline.
And people get in the middle of it. So the amount of times I've seen people get wade into the middle of a dog fight, try and grab both dogs by the collars, and they've got their head down, and you've got these snapping jaws right near their face, and all this sort of stuff. And it's just a disaster waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm. So if you've ever been bitten by a dog, you want to avoid it.
Exactly. So, the technique that we generally tell people, in terms of what to do if this situation occurs, is very simple. If you have two, and it works, it doesn't matter whether you've got 2 dogs fighting, 3 dogs fighting, or whatever, you just need more resource to make it happen. So just extend this behaviour. Mm. What you do is as simple as you grab the hind legs of one dog, somebody else grabs the hind legs of the other dog, and you pull them apart, you keep them apart. If they try to turn on you, just rotate your body, bring them round, almost like a wheelbarrow, so they can't actually get on you. until they've calmed down, or until somebody's come to help you and has got a leash on that dog or a line on that dog, you know, or whatever.
Because I think it definitely should be noted, guys, that when dogs are in that situation and they are at that mental state and they've just come out of a fight, they aren't going to immediately recognise you as their owner potentially. And that's not any kind of aggression towards you. No. It's what we call redirection. And it's just the fact of, you see the drunk guy being pulled out of a fight and he's just still swinging punches until he kind of has that second to go, okay, I'm out of it now.
Exactly.
So that's where James is talking about, you know, you do want to avoid, your dog may turn around and bite you even if they've never had, just because they are so freaked out.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Nobody wants to get bitten by any dog. No, but you particularly don't want to get bitten by your own dog. I mean, that can cause you some real, you know, long-term, you know, trust issues and emotional challenges, you know, to get through. So separate the two dogs, you know, using the hind legs, stay away from the pointy end, basically, bring them back, rotate them round until you've got control over them. If you're in a situation where you're by yourself,
I was just going to say,
you know, and you've got an issue of multiple dogs, or even just, you know, one dog attacking your dog, but generally in that situation you've got two, you know, having a go at yours, you've got to use the same process, but you're just going to have to work it in a systematic way. So what you need to do in that case is, and this is why, you know, again, we use slip leads, you know, because we can actually use them for this purpose. In that situation, I would get one slip lead, I would get it around, I would pick up the hind legs of one dog, slip lead around them, I would drag that particular dog away, tie it up to a fence post or a tree. I'd get another slip lead, another piece of rope, whatever. I'd do exactly the same to another dog.
yes.
And then, you know, and then take the third one, if it's still going, of those two away, you know, using the method we already talked about.
The point I'd like to make too, and I think if anyone who hasn't been in a dog fight, it's scary.
Yeah.
And especially if you have two big dogs that are potentially stronger than you attacking each other.
Yeah.
You are not going to be able to separate them on your own just with your hands.
No.
There is no point in you even going in there and risking your safety and honestly potentially making it worse with the dogs, agitating things more. I would, like James said, get my shit together, get a leash, get one so that you can remove one at a time.
Yeah.
And even if you're just tethering your dog to a tree right there so that you can then go and get the other dog off, do that.
Yeah.
Please don't. It's hard to in the moment. You'll probably want to, but don't just dive straight in. I've got plenty of scars from my green days when I...
Yeah. Do not dive straight in. You've got to think about it systematically. You've got to stay away from the pointy end. You've got to use tools, use what's available in your environment, whether it's other people or if you don't have other people there, you know, use just trees and things, but just work through it step by step, going, right, the only way to solve this fight is to separate them. How do I separate them? I take them one at a time and make sure they cannot physically, you know, get to the other dogs.
Yeah.
In the case of stray dogs, you know, or dogs that are that have got no owner around or anything like that, frankly, I'd probably leave them like that. I'd probably leave them, you know, and I'd call
the council. 100%. Don't let that dog back free.
I would, you know, I'd get control of the situation. I've ultimately got two strange dogs that I've got secured, and I would then call the council, get them to come and get them. Obviously, welfare comes into play. I'm not going to stand there and leave them out in the hot sun, you know, wasting 5 hours for council to come along.
I mean, I would stand there and wait for the council, probably.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, it's still a living animal. Yes, you're probably going to be a little bit annoyed at it at that point.
Yeah.
But
you're not going to be well disposed towards it.
No.
You know? And there's, of course, the issue as well of, you know, you've got to make the right decisions. I mean, if your dog, if you're by yourself, if you've separated, 2 dogs from your dog, you've tied them up, your dog is, injured and needs to go to the vet, you need to prioritise. I mean, on that basis, I would certainly be saying to the council, this is the situation, I'll be explaining that those dogs are vulnerable, they're in the sun, that you have to go and take your dog, to be cared for, and and go from there. You've got to make the most sensible decision.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, James and I are not going to be upset if we get a message or a phone call of you frantically asking what you need to do.
No, exactly right.
We are happy to help you think through it if you're in a frantic situation.
Yeah, exactly. But stop, think first is the message. Do not go and dive straight into the middle of it. Do not put any vulnerable part of yourself anywhere near the situation. If there's a situation where you do, for some reason, like in the middle of the open beach, there's nobody around, there's nowhere you can tie a dog up to, even if you drag it half a kilometre down the beach, some situation like that. Again, think it through. Take off your t-shirt, take off your jumper, wrap it around your arm.
Towels.
Yeah, towel, anything like that. Use that, as a block, as a barrier. Something that hopefully the teeth aren't going to go through or go through too much. Use that while you gain control. But always try and keep the most vulnerable parts of you, your neck area, face area, hands,
Another one
fingers.
I have heard actually too for the beach is if you've got 2 towels, being able to wrap the towel around the top of the head, cover the eyes, and pull from under the throat with the towel.
Yeah, that's good.
Because a lot of the times, once dogs can't see, it's like horses, right? When horses are freaking out, you cover the eyes. They do have to give in a little bit and trust. So if you can get it to the point where they both stop moving so much, and then one lets go, and you can separate them like that.
Yeah,
right?
That's a great tip. I hadn't heard that one, but that makes a lot of sense to me.
Because there's a lot of advice out there, guys.
Yeah.
Personally, I can tell you, if dogs are really fighting, a hose is not going to do shit.
No.
You hitting the dog with a stick is not going to do shit.
No. And you're only adding fuel to the fire in that basis. You're adding additional stress to
Finger
the
up the butt
situation.
is not going to work.
No, apart from smelly finger. So all you get out of that is a smelly finger. Basically, you do not want to be. It may distract them for a second, but anyway.
No, that's a big one.
Yeah, okay.
Have you not heard that? Really? I'm so surprised. That's what I always heard if dogs are fighting finger up the butt.
Okay.
Don't do it.
No.
Useless and disgusting.
Yeah, useless and disgusting, and no, don't do that. But don't. Make sure you're not adding fuel to the fire. If you stress, you're simply fueling the fire. You've got to be calm, methodical, practical. Get control of the situation. Separate while staying away from the pointy ends. Make sure if you've got kids with you or anything like that, they're well out of the way. Make sure they don't get involved, because they probably won't have the strength.
No. And this is all worst case scenario, guys. Hopefully you never have to deal with something like this, and prevention is obviously the best cure in this situation, but it does happen, so
Okay. So what happens, so what should you do in the case when a dog actually bites you? And this is kind of an interesting one, because again, it's counterintuitive. You need to have a calm, you need to have that presence of mind to make sure you're doing the right thing. There's a reason why they train military and police dogs and so on to bite and hold. The reason is that they don't want to cause any more damage than they have to.
Than necessary.
So they take one bite, you've got a number of punctures there, that is all you have. It's a solid grip. Okay? Exactly the same thing applies whether it's your dog or anybody else's dog, that bites you. If it's not just a little, a snap, if it's a proper bite and hold, do not try and pull your arm, your appendage,
think about what happens when you're playing tug with your dog.
Yeah. All that's going to happen is you're going to increase the damage to yourself by aggravating with that ripping, action, which is the last thing you want. If a dog bites you, and if they're biting and holding, get the back of their head and hold them in place until they release. Then you can take them off. If you panic, if you try and pull them off, if you try and spin them around in a circle while they're hanging off your arm, all that's going to happen is your flesh is going to be ripped to shreds. You've got much more chance of major artery damage, ligament damage,
tendon, nerve,
all of that sort of stuff. If they're biting on you, yes, it's going to hurt like shit. It's going to hurt less and cause less damage if you make sure they do not move from that position until they have released the pressure. Okay. In the instances where you have been bitten, obviously the usual first aid applies. Apply pressure to the wound thereafter. If you've got any, if you can wash it,
wash it as you can.
Give it a good wash if you can. If you've got any antibacterial, ointment or liquid, put that on. And then depending on the severity, obviously it's up to you to make your own call, but I'd be going to the doctor or to the hospital, depending.
I'm going to tell a little story about the time the neighbour's dog, deaf and blind, we didn't know this at the time, they just moved in. We were going out for dinner and we saw it standing out in the middle of Ballinger Road, not a good spot for an old dog to be sitting in, right? And there was cars coming down the hill, so Mark runs out to the middle of the street, and sweeps the dog up, right? Well, this dog being deaf and blind obviously freaked the hell out, and it turned around and it bit through his thumb. This is just like a little Maltese. So he just had, you know, like 2 tooth marks in his thumb. He thought he'd be fine. We went down, we rinsed it, we did cover it and stuff. The next morning I had to take him into the emergency room because it was purple and swollen. And they then had to recut the wound open and scrub it. So I would say...
on that basis, probably go.
I always just, even if it's just any puncture wound, just go. Get it sorted, get some antibiotics. What does it hurt you to take 5 days of tablets?
No, great advice. The other thing to do in both of those situations as well is obviously make sure you have notified counsel. I mean, if there's an issue, you know, you've got to play it a little bit by ear. I mean, you know, if you've been around to a friend's house, their dog's bitten you because you didn't show that dog respect or give it, you know, accept its boundaries or respect its behaviour and its warning signs, you know.
Especially if the owner told you not to do it.
Then that's on you. But if you're out and about, there's a stray dog running around the place, you know, being aggressive, either to people or to yourselves, you know, you've got to alert.
Yeah, it's a public safety issue.
Exactly. Yeah. So you've got to let counsel know. Okay. So I hope that helps everybody there.
It's a shitty topic.
It's a shitty topic.
It's got to be talked about.
But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where unless you've been told what to do, unless you've got that in your mind in the instance that it happens, it's very, 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 very easy to do the wrong thing and get yourself into a whole world of hurt. So hopefully, if that ever happens to you, and we hope it doesn't,
you'll be a little bit prepared.
You know,
now.
You'll go, oh yeah, James and Courtney said, do this. Okay? Keep yourselves away from the pointy end. If the pointy end gets you, make sure that it doesn't rip. Do anything you can do to make sure that it's held in place. Exactly the same applies, you know, I mean, certainly to your kids and, you know, and all of that sort of thing. With kids, obviously, it's, you know, they're a lot more vulnerable just because of proximity, you know. You know, adults are much more likely to get a dog bite to their leg, to their arm. Kids,
unfortunately, the face.
It's the face, the neck, you know, those kind of areas. So if you've got a dog that's displaying the warning signs, or you're nervous, or you know, at all, I'd really be keeping your kid well away from that dog.
Chat to us about muzzle training.
Yeah. And this also, I mean, this leads us into, you know, dog-on-dog manners as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I figured, you know, it'd be good mentioning how to avoid situations the best we can like this. And I mean, so I actually had a client ask me about this the other day. They are in a bunch of groups, and over in the US, people will carry horse whips or, you know, some nasty stuff to potentially deter, you know, stray dogs. In some areas over there, it's much more of an issue than it is here. But I mean, in terms of if you're out on a walk with your dog, trying to prevent a dog from potentially coming up into your space aggressively, I mean, I know you've said, you know, maybe carry a stick with you. And not to hit the dog with even, just a lot of the times all you need to do is wave the stick around and make some scary noises and ward them off. An umbrella, you can use that again like a stick, opening the umbrella sometimes, you know, puffing that out to get them away. There are citronella sprays and alarms and all sorts of stuff you can do. That would be, I would say, a worst case scenario because you're going to freak your dog out with those too. But, you know, and then just leash manners. So I've said this before, I really don't care how friendly your dog is. If you're in a leashed area, put your dog on a leash. Because other dogs in that area may not be friendly. And the quickest way to have your friendly dog turn unfriendly is to have it wander up friendly into an unfriendly dog's face and get snapped at.
Exactly.
Or, you know, actually harmed. In a worst case scenario. So, and then the other thing is too, you've got people out there who have dogs that are they're trying to train and they're trying to fix the confidence levels and these fear aggression issues. Dogs on heat, dogs that are injured. You know, so we had, you know, some dogs after surgery, things like that. Their behaviour changes a little bit. So their owners are just trying to do the right thing and, you know, let them have a happy walk. That needs to be respected even by the friendly dogs.
The reality is that, you know, it's not about how friendly your dog is. You know, if you're in an on-leash area, the expectation of everyone else is that dogs there will be under control and on leash. So people will take their dogs to those areas for a wide variety of reasons. You know, I mean, I've had people, you know, and this goes also into people, you know, to approaching dogs. You know, you see a nice attractive dog and you want to go and say hello because you love dogs and your child wants to go and say hello. ask first.
Always.
You know,
even in an off-leash area, I would think that before your dog approaches anyone or another dog, people might be like, what?
Yeah. People often approach one of my dogs, Scout, because he's a nice, attractive, beautiful dog. He does not like other people or other dogs. He just doesn't. If you get in his face, that's going to add. That's going to stress him out.
And Scout will leave you be.
Yeah.
But if you come running into his face, he's not going to be impressed with that.
No, exactly right.
You never know.
Exactly. So you just need to make sure that you're following not just the rules, but also the expectation, of how other people will be reacting.
Yeah, courtesy.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's enough chatting from us. Yeah. Shall we show Buddy?
Yeah, cool.
Shall we get Buddy to do his little demo?
Yeah. So okay. I'm going to do the drop and the roll. So I can't remember when I did it, but a few weeks ago I showed you guys how to start luring that roll. Funny, I've been working on it a little bit now, spare time. So I've now got him to the point where I can ask him to do it just with a verbal or audible cue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step back, I'm going to ask him to do a few things. Hopefully he does it well for me, he doesn't make a fool of me, but I'm going to be sitting there with my hands behind my back, and I'm going to be trying to not use my body language at all. I'm going to be just using those verbal cues. This is a good way of, I guess, I don't want to say a test, because I don't think you should ever test your dog, but it can expose some of those weaknesses. So if I'm asking him to do these things, and when I ask him to sit from a drop, he doesn't do it, just with the verbal cue, and I need to come back in with that help, well then that's something that I maybe need to go work on, isn't it? I'm big on that. I don't think you ever have a fully trained dog, and I think you should always be going back and working on your basics and making sure you've got everything straight. So anyway, we're going to head back, and you might not be able to hear me back there. Cool. All right. Buddy, come on. Can you see? Cool. All right. I have no idea if you guys can hear me, but I'll try to be nice and loud. Buddy, drop. Good. Buddy, roll. Yes. Good. Yay.
So that was very nice, guys, as you can see. Buddy there. What I found really interesting there is you can tell Courtney's been working on this, because when Courtney was doing the little, I don't know even whether you noticed this, because when you were talking.
I'm about to get a compliment, am I?
No, just when you were talking, you put your hands behind your back, and Buddy noticed that he raised himself up from the position he was in Courtney's side and came round into an attention position at the front.
Yep.
So he's obviously reading that as a cue of we're about to go and do some work.
I need to listen.
Which is quite interesting. Because so you've obviously been working on that.
Yes,
a little bit. So he's actually built that into his repertoire of if Mum puts her hands behind the back, that means we're going to be doing some work.
Yep.
Which is quite interesting. But it was great to see what Buddy was able to do there. Courtney was just giving very, very nice, clear commands. No other indication, nothing with the body language at all. And Buddy, responded very, very well to that.
And you can do the same thing with hand signals too.
Yep.
So sometimes I'll do a training session and I won't use any verbal cues.
Yep.
He's got to pay attention to me and work on those hand signals.
Yep.
So there's some variations you can play with.
Absolutely.
The existing behaviours.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Great. Thanks, guys. Okay, so Carly Louise. Hi. Thanks for joining us today. Are we currently offering training? Yes, we are. So our next training course starts. Our foundation level starts next weekend. So Sunday the 19th. Here at Butter and Mountain State School Oval. We've got classes running from 8 a.m. up till 11 a.m. And we also have classes that run on a Wednesday evening and a Thursday evening here on the Oval as well at 6:30 p.m. We're nearly full on a lot of them, so if you want to get your space, please go to padfoot.com.au, go to the Make a Booking link up in the top right hand corner, select our foundation group training, and then that'll allow you to select the time of your choosing, make payment, book in, and we'd love to see you there. For those of you who've been through our foundation course, we've got one space left in our advanced level 1 program. I think it's on a Thursday evening from memory.
That's a good spot.
Yeah, it's not a bad spot. So we've got one space left. So if you've been on the fence, now is the time to get off it. First in, best dressed, because there's no more slots we can put on, apart from that one. Exactly, yeah, exactly. It's exciting, we can't wait.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we're really, really excited about that program. Also, I think as we've mentioned in previous weeks, we've redesigned our entire program. We've taken the opportunity of having a bit of extra time during COVID to redesign our entire program. So now, the program runs from sort of puppy to foundation up through advanced levels 1 through 5. So there's solid progressions, that people can go on. They can go on their entire dog training journey, with us, and under our guidance, and really get to the point. If you like working with your dog, if you like training your dog, if you find it enriching for both of you, then that's a great opportunity to keep on that journey.
Yeah.
So next weekend we've got training club again on a Saturday morning here at the Oval at 7 a.m. for those people who are enrolled for or have completed our foundation course previously. Foundation and advanced levels start on Sunday again, and then we've got training club Monday night here on the Oval, 6:30 p.m. Foundation classes on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. and both foundation and advanced level 1 on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. We also do, obviously, private lessons, play and train sessions in the local areas. Courtney's available to do nutritional consultations. So if you're worried a little bit about your dog's diet or want to improve your dog's energy or anything, or weight or anything like that, please do contact Courtney.
Yes, I'd love that.
And obviously we do the behavioural assessments as well. So if you're concerned at all about your dog's behaviour, then again, that's something we can help you with. I think that's just the little marketing spiel over and done with. So, as usual, guys, if you like what we do, please share our page. Please do share this show. It'll be available as a recorded thing afterwards. So if you think it's useful for people to know how to deal with a dog fight, then please do share it widely. And we will see you all 8 a.m. next Saturday for Padfoot Live. Get training. Have a great week.
Awesome.
Take care, guys.
See you, everyone.
See ya.